So, good morning, everyone. Hope you all had a great workout session. And I know some of you are going to have a great workout session. So, today we're going to discuss about smartwatch slash fitness trackers. Okay. So, before we start, I want to know how many of you all have it, like smartwatches. Okay. I can see only two hands. That's it.
Don't use it regularly.
Okay. You have it, but.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's my next question. How many of you all actually use it? You do? Okay. Praveen sir, Roni sir. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. So I think these days it's becoming more and more popular, right? So basically today we'll try and understand how we can. I know a lot of people who have it but don't actually use it or don't actually use it to their best capacity. Okay. So today we'll discuss about how we can actually use it to really optimize our health, build habits, and all of that. Okay. So basically, how they work is they have a set of sensors like GPS monitor, heart rate monitor, accelerometers. They have processors, then they have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth connectivity, and all of that. All those complicated tech stuff. And then it gives you information about your heart rate, your activity, your calories, and a lot of things, right? So basically, how can they be used to actually optimize your health? There are so many features that smartwatches or fitness trackers have that you can use on a daily basis, which can help you with a lot of factors. The first thing is activity tracking. I know you all must be familiar with, tracking your calories while you're exercising, or basically just tracking how many minutes you're exercising, what is your heart rate while you're exercising, and all of that. But apart from exercising, when you're exercising, there are also features wherein you can probably set reminders to move around. There are things called hourly activity reminders, wherein if you've been I know most of you all must be working sedentary jobs. So if you've been sitting down for a couple of hours, or let's say 30 minutes to 45 minutes, it will give you reminders to move around if you've been sitting for too long. You can track your step counts, and most people try to achieve the 10K steps in just one stretch. I think better than that would be actually achieving that 10K steps, 10,000 steps throughout the day instead of just one maybe 1.5 hour to 2 hour walk. It would be better if you can do it in throughout the day, that the entire day's time period. So your smartwatch will help you track your activity in terms of your exercise and in terms of your daily, the day to day. Another important feature is heart rate. I know most of y'all are familiar with, it's showing your heart rate. This is your heart rate right now. This is your resting heart rate. This is your heart rate variability. Most people know that it's there, but they don't know what to do with that information. Like, what do you actually do by knowing what your heart rate is at this period of time or at this point in time? So basically, you can optimize your heart rate, or you can bring your heart rate to a certain point during your exercise, which will help you optimize your fat loss. Let's say, for example, there's this zone called zone 2 exercise. I know you must be familiar with it. I think we had one whole session about zone 2 exercise, right? So it's basically if your heart rate is 180, the maximum heart rate is 180, 60 to 70 percentage of that 180 is your fat loss zone or zone 2 zone. So that will be probably around 110 to 130. So if you can keep your heart rate around 110 to 130 while you're exercising constantly for about 45 minutes, you're optimizing your fat loss. Another important factor is heart rate variability. So heart rate variability is variation in time between each heartbeat. So if you have a very low heart rate variability, that probably means you are stressed, anxious, not ready, you have not recovered well probably from the last day. But if you have a high heart rate variability, that is more optimal. That means you're relaxed, you're resting, and you're in a good relaxed mindset. So these are some of the heart rate monitor factors. Another important factor is calorie tracking. Now, if you're somebody who's looking for weight loss or let's say fat loss, um, how many calories you're burning through exercise, how many calories you're burning other than exercise. So you will understand what your total daily calories are. The app will show you how many calories you've burnt throughout the day. You can sync that with your calorie tracking apps like MyFitnessPal or whatever, any diet tracking apps, to help you balance out or determine the amount of calories that you should be taking in based on the amount of calorie output that is happening. So calorie tracking can be used in that way. Another factor is you can use it to probably create certain habits. Okay, so you can set it in such a way that your focus is on specific areas. Like there is features for you to set it in terms of, if you want to become more mindful or things like that, you can set it to a mindfulness focus. If you want to become more active, you can set it to an activity focus and it will give you reminders to move around. If you set it to a mindfulness focus, it will give you reminders to probably meditate and things like that. Okay, so basically you can set it in such a way that it can give you reminders for whatever habits you want to build. Say for example, you want to drink more water, you want to maybe meditate more, you want to increase your step count, you want to increase your activity. It will give you reminders to do all of these things. So basically when a human being does it, it's annoying, but when a device tells you to do it, you'll probably do it. And also there's a feature not just to track your daily activities, but also it gives you a monthly analysis of how many calories you've burned throughout the month, the average, or how active you've been, how mindful you've been, and everything. So you can go back and analyze your month or your week and see your patterns, where you went well or where you did things well, or maybe where you went off track, and analyze what happened back then when everything went off track, or what happened when everything went well, and then maybe help you repeat those patterns where everything went well. So that is another thing. It also helps you monitor your sleep. That's not very accurate per se. It will tell you the number of hours you slept, your sleep quality, your sleep stages, etc. Okay. So these are the things that you can actively use to create habits, to sustain habits, maybe even for certain specific goals like muscle gain, fat loss, things like that. Okay. But like anything else that has advantages, there are also disadvantages. I'm sure you might have heard of, I have heard a lot of my clients say, oh, it, produces a lot of radiation because all of those things. Okay. So basically, let's first talk about radiation exposure. These devices emit something called electromagnetic radiation or electromagnetic frequency, which is emitted by the same as what your laptops, your mobile phone devices, all of those emits. Okay, these are non-ionizing radiation, so it can't really enter your body as it is, like say for example x-rays or ultraviolet rays. So these are harmless to say, if they carry lesser energy, so they are much harmless. But of course what you can do is, to prevent continued exposure, you can also take time off of your device. You can not wear it for a while, maybe in throughout an entire day. That is one thing. Another thing is there has been arguments about some chemicals called PFAs in the strap of your watch. PFA is basically perfluorohexanoic acid. So it gets into your skin barrier, crosses your skin barrier, and it acts as a toxin in certain amounts. Okay, when it is in certain amounts. But now there are alternatives for it. You get silicone straps, you get steel straps even, so that's okay. Another thing is data privacy and security. We know these apps, these brands have a lot of privacy policies, security policies, and it's disclosed even when you're buying it, when you're purchasing it. But it is a device inevitably that has live location tracking, GPS monitoring, activity tracking. It has all your personal health related information. So it is obviously a risk, and we don't know what the long term consequences are because it has been only in the market for a very short period of time. Okay. Another thing is the inaccuracy of the data. Now, how these brands get the information about heart rate monitors and things like the heart rate or activities and all, they do have certain sensors which do it, but all of it is basically established after the brand comes to an arrived figure. So there will be certain discrepancies in the data. So these data, the heart rate, the sleep tracking, the calorie tracking, and all of those can only be seen as approximation and not accurate data. Okay. If you need accurate data, you'll have to go somewhere else for it. These will just give you just approximation, like I said, to help you build habits, to monitor your daily activities and things like that in an approximation. That's about it. Okay. You have to see it in that way, not in a way that this is accurate, this is the last word. No, it's not. um, yeah, and then there are also concerns about certain medical device interferences. Like if you have a pacemaker on, you have to consult your doctor before you are getting a smartwatch. Another very important factor I've seen in some people, not all, but some people, it sometimes causes a lot of unnecessary health anxiety. Like, say, for example, you had a good night's sleep. Okay, you check your watch and it says your sleep quality was poor. You didn't sleep, you didn't have enough REM sleep or deep sleep or whatever. Despite the fact that you felt good, when you look at the watch, this says so, and you feel confused. And then you judge your sleep as, no, it was not that great, even though you felt good. And that kind of creates an unnecessary health anxiety. And you might have heard news of people, of the device, the smartwatch, giving you, false heart rate alarms, people rushing to the emergency and all of that. So sometimes this can also happen. Basically, the conclusion of it all is, how well you use it depends completely on you, right? You can use it in a way that you can help build healthy habits, track your habits, and then take you to whatever goals you have. Or you can use it in a manner that provokes anxiety or other negative factors. Okay, that's all up to you. But in conclusion, these are great devices and you can use it for your everyday health monitoring. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a very brief session about smartwatches, fitness trackers. Okay. Do you have any doubts about it? Have any of you all used it in these ways?
It helped me keep me accountable for my sleep. So that's one primary thing I think.
Okay. Oh, that's great. That's great. That's nice. Okay. And how do you monitor your sleep? Like what
At
factors do you?
least 6, 7 hours, 7 hours. I
Okay.
make
Okay.
sure I do get like 2, 1 hour some days, some nights. So when
Oh.
I look at it, I get to know, okay, my
Oh.
body feels the same. At times I used to do very less
Hmm.
when we have some get together and things. So now it keeps me accountable.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? That's great. Thank you, Roni sir. So if you don't have any more questions, I'll sign off. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.